Hi, and welcome to this new video about MiRA. Today we'll explore the process of designing and personalizing layouts. A layout is a collection of scopes that are arranged to create a unified user experience for a particular task. Scopes are one of MiRA's audio analysis tools. MiRA offers several predefined layouts that are tailored for typical use cases. Now, depending on our way of working, we may want to make adjustments. For example, I'd like to modify the essential layout so that the RTA spectrum occupies the full width of the user interface, and I want to remove the vector scope. To access editing mode, there are two options. One option is to navigate to the Edit tab in the menu, then select Edit Current. The second one is to use the keyboard shortcut Command+Shift+L. Now note that any modifications to the essential layout will be persistent, so it may be best to create a copy first and then begin editing. To accomplish this, simply hit the duplicate key. Since we entered the edit mode, many buttons have appeared. Each scope now displays size controls, position controls, layer depth control, and a delete button. We will go more in depth into each control once we have completed our first small example of the workflow. First, we'll delete the vector scope. To do this, just click on the Delete button in the upper right corner of the scope's user interface. Subsequently, we will extend the RTA spectrum. To make it occupy the full width of the UI, we need to make it the lowest scope in our layout. This can be accomplished by pressing the Move Down button. Finally, we will make the nebula scope wider by clicking on the Set Size button and choosing 1/2, making it occupy half of the user interface's width. To delve deeper, let's rebuild the essential layout. In the Workspace bar, click the New button and name the new layout something relevant. You will undoubtedly notice that the entire interface has now turned black. A new layout is empty by default. Now it's time to populate this blank canvas with scopes. Before you proceed, ensure that you are in edit mode by verifying that the Edit button is blue and active. Now click on Add Scopes and choose the nebula spectrogram. We will adjust its size to 1/4 and anchor it to the left. Then, let's add the RTA spectrum. Click on Add Scope, then on RTA. After that, we want to anchor it at the top of the user interface. To do this, simply click on the upper arrow. It now takes up half of the height of the interface. You may notice that it doesn't extend to the full width because its depth is set above the nebula scope. Adjusting its position allows it to span the entire width of the user interface. Let's undo this move. The next step is to incorporate the vector scope by pressing Add Scope and selecting Stereo Vector Scope, then adjust its size to 1/3. Now we must include the 3-level meters. We can simplify this by using a scope container. A scope container is a specialized scope that has the ability to hold other scopes. It can help organize UI elements by grouping them. To create one, click on Add Scope and then Scope Container and give it a descriptive name. Notice that the workflow bar has automatically switched to our new scope container. Before filling it with content, let's ensure its positioning is correct on the layout. To do this, we must return to the main panel and select the All Directions option, which will cause the container to fill all of the remaining empty space. Now, we'll go back to the Meters panel and add a True Peak meter, an RMS meter, and a Loudness meter. To allocate 1/3 of the interface to each meter, we will set the True Peak meter to 1/3, then the RMS meter to half, and finally the Loudness meter to the remaining space. To clarify the logic, the lowest layer's width is defined in relation to the entire panel's width. The width of the second layer's scope is determined by the remaining space in the panel, which is the width of the panel minus the width of the first layer. Similarly, the third layer's scope is defined by the remaining space in the panel, which is the width of the panel minus the width of all layers below. At this point, we have almost finished recreating our layers. Notice that we did not include the info bar scope. We can easily fix this. Let's return to our main panel and add the info bar scope, anchor it to the top, and set its size to 1/16. And there you go. Thanks for watching this video. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like the video to stay updated on the latest MiRA Analyzer content. For more in-depth information, please refer to our user guide, which offers detailed instructions and tips to help you maximize your use of our tools. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll continue exploring the advanced features and capabilities of the MiRA Analyzer suite.